What's up everyone? So today I'm going to teach you how to defeat and go about the Dancing Lion boss fight in Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree DLC. Now, this boss fight is pretty hard, I think so far it's the one that gave me the most trouble. But I will show you a build, the build that I used to defeat him, something that he's weak to. I'll show you how to get there because it can be a bit confusing if you haven't found the side of grace yet. And I'll also talk about the attacks to watch out for and how to properly dodge and punish him. What makes this boss really hard is that he's so freaking big and long and he's always all up in your ass. So you get stuck against walls and you can't even tell what the heck he's doing, right? So for that reason, I brought a shield to the fight, a great shield. And for a lot of my other boss build videos, I was using a shield as well, but in this case it's very important to just put the shield up if you're like stuck against a wall, so at least even if you don't see what he's doing or the attack he's winding up, you can just put up your shield and you'll mitigate that damage. But also the arena is pretty big, so just make sure that you're conscious of like where you are and just like spin around him instead of just backing up into a wall, because it's a really bad time if he has you up against the wall. It's like pretty much GG's. So for the build, it was a bleed build, and yes, I did use the freaking rivers of blood. I was just like, dude, I am not messing around with this. I'm just gonna dust off the old rivers and we're going in. So that's what I did. I mean, it's not the most rapid Ash of War on a weapon you'll ever use. And it's kind of difficult with him because he just attacks all the time, constantly. You have very few moments where you can actually punish him properly. His other weaknesses include piercing damage, fire, and scarlet rot. And he's strong against everything else because he can actually switch between all of those types of damages. So lightning, holy, frostbite, magic. Also uses wind attacks, but that's only in phase 2. But he's always weak to blood loss and fire and scarlet rot, so you know, go wild if you want to do a fire build. But personally, I used a bleed build. Now, I was level around 170 here, so I had a arcane, strength, and dexterity build for the Rivers of Blood, and to be able to use a great shield. I was using some talismans to help me with the strength, to get the strength up and not use too many points in there because you also need stamina, right? But yeah, as for the talismans, usual bleed stuff, you know, Lord of Blood's Exaltation, Millicent's Prosthesis, the Winged Sword talisman, and for this I was using the Strength talisman as well. For the consumables, you can also use the one that gives you all resistances, and you could possibly eat it while he's changing his damage type. That could possibly help a lot. Or you can have, you know, a few boluses on hand, especially the frostbite ones. If you haven't found him yet, you want to start at the Bellarat Settlement Site of Grace, and then I'll show you the way from there because it's a pretty long way. Now in the first phase, the first thing he will do when you walk into the boss room, walk through the fog, is one of two things. One, he will do a breath attack and you just need to either run left or run right. It's very easy to dodge. Or two, he'll just do his like spin tornado attack, which is 3 hits. So he will spin in the air, hit you once, spin again, hit you twice, and then his head will be stuck in the ground, and then he'll pull his head out, which is kind of the surprise attack, right? And it can actually hurt a lot if it hits you. So you need to dodge it 3 times. Now, right after that attack, right after he does the little spinny thingy, he will start doing another breath attack and spin on himself. Now, this breath attack right after the other one, he only spins on himself twice, and then he will do a kind of tail whip attack at the end. When the breath is near you, you just want to dodge it, and you know, for the tail whip, you just want to dodge backwards. But again, the shield really helps here because, you know, of his tail whip, and when he puts his head out of the ground, the great shield here will really help you mitigate that damage instead of just dodging all the time. Another attack that he does in phase 1 and phase 2 that is you need to avoid it at all costs, it's his grab. And he will like pop up in the air, stay on his hind legs, and then he'll like bite a couple times, you know, you'll hear the... You need to avoid that, but the wind up is really long, so wait until he's coming down, and then you want to dodge either right or left, because that thing will take like most of your health, no matter what level you are. Other than that, you know, he has a lot of rapid up-close chain attacks, 2, 3, 4 attacks, and that's always the time where you're like stuck in a corner, you can't do anything, you don't even know what the heck he's doing. So again, you know, use the shield for those, but his attacks are really rapid, and sometimes, you know, especially you're not sure if he's doing 3 or 4 hits, it's really hard to understand when to punish him, but it's best to punish him after the attacks that I mentioned before those. Other than that, you really want to focus on proccing whatever damage he's weak to in this phase, because you want to get him down to phase 2 as quickly as you can, but that's also the worst friggin' phase. In this phase, he will switch between a couple of elements. He'll start with lightning, and then he can go to frost, wind. He'll also switch back to lightning. Lightning is probably the worst because he throws lightning spears at you, and not only do they explode on impact, they also have an AoE range, and it's just horrible. Like, all of his attacks will have AoE lightning damage. Once you get him down to phase 2, you want to just be on his butt and damage him as quickly as possible so he changes damage type again, because wind is the easiest to deal with. Frost is also a friggin' nightmare. But he pretty much has the same attack that he does in phase 1, it's just now you have that damage type to worry about. You're gonna get frostbit, especially if he gets you in the corner, it's GG's instantly. And you're gonna get, you know, lightning damage, which is horrible. And then there is the wind that fortunately does not have a type of damage that you will get procced, right? So that's when you really want to take a breather, you know, and eat some of that schmeat, or take a couple potions and glug glug, and then continue, you know, having fun trying to dodge his ice storms or his lightning strikes. So you can punish him at the end of his bite attack, you can punish him at the end of his tail whip, which is the end of his chain of attacks up close. Also punish him when he's changing damage types, and sometimes he'll put his head in the ground to do the pop-up attack, but like he'll stun himself. I'm not sure if it's when he does it alone or when he does it in the chain of attack, but that's the only time you can really punish him. And again, make sure you're careful, you know. After he does his spin in the air, attacks you twice, and then he puts his head in the ground and does a pop-up attack, that's when he'll start to do the breath spin. He'll do it in phase 2 as well, with the specific damage type he has, so you know, be mindful to not try to punish him after you dodge the pop-up attack. You need to roll twice again for the breath, and again for a tail whip, which then you'll be able to punish him finally. That's the kind of rhythm you need to get into with this fight. I never tried to punish him after his like really quick attacks up close. It was always after the big ones. You know, once you get that timing down, it's not too bad. You know, after that it's just trying to mitigate the freaking damage types from Frostbite and Lightning, and trying to avoid the AoEs and all of that, and trying not to get stuck in a corner. So, you know, there's a lot of things that make this fight hard. It's not specifically because this boss is like extremely hard, it's just a lot of the factors make it freaking annoying. So as long as you avoid the attacks I told you and you punish him when I told you, you should be able to take him down, and specifically go for a fire or blood loss build for this fight. Because all the other damage types that he uses in the fight, he's immune and really strong against. I'm sorry to all of those who are using like magic builds, because he's strong against magic and he's strong against frost as well. You'll probably have to respec. So hopefully this helped you figure out how to beat this freaking dancing lion. Man, he's annoying. He's like the first boss I fought and I wanted to rip my hair out. But yeah, hopefully y'all will have a better time, and I really hope this guide helped. So as always, thank you so much for watching. Have yourselves a wonderful day, and I'll see you all very soon.